Lonely Dr. Whooves, Chapter 15 Takeover. Luna and Octavia watched in shock as the dead body of Crystal Shine dropped to the floor. Without warning, Sombra turned around, and a tentacle that looked like it was made from pure shadow shot forth straight towards Luna. Stunned at what her friend had just done, she stood there. Seeing this, Octavia galloped to where she was standing and pushed her aside in the last moment before the tentacle could wrap itself around Luna. Sent sprawling to the ground, all Luna could do was watch as Octavia was enveloped by the shadows, trying to free herself. "You fool! Run!" Luna did as she was told, too shocked to think for herself at the moment. She started galloping towards the tea house and back to her sister. Celestia would know what to do. Maybe they should flee the Crystal Empire? With Sombra in charge, that was surely not a bad idea. A few minutes later, the Midnight Blue Alicorn arrived at the tea house just to find it a burning ruin. She already thought that she had lost her sister as well, when Celestia burst forth from the flames and soared up into the sky. Close behind her was a shadowy figure that Luna identified immediately. Octavia? The battle in the sky was fierce, and Luna could see magical blows being exchanged. How was this even possible? Octavia was an earth pony. She could not be able to fly, nor to use magic. Without a moment's hesitation, she also took flight to assist her sister. Celestia could not believe it. She was supposed to be one of the most powerful beings in the world, but this earth pony mare that resembled her friend Octavia was driving her back. The magic was twisted and strange in nature. She had no horn, nor any wings to follow her into the sky, but that didn't seem to stop her. The mare's eyes burned with black flames, which changed to a fiery red each time she casted a spell. Pretty early in the fight, Celestia had experienced that it was not a good idea to be hit by them. A large portion of her coat, just under her right wing, was charred where one of them had hit her. The dark mare, enveloped by shadows herself, was just about to intone another spell when she was knocked out of the sky by a quadrat of midnight blue hooves striking her back from above. Relieved at the reinforcements, Celestia hovered next to her sister as she watched the Octavia look-alike plummet to the ground. "Luna, what has happened? Where's Octavia?" "I don't know. I first thought this was her, but it's nothing but a magical construct. Quite impressive, if you ask me." "What the buck happened, Luna?" "Octavia saved me once again, and got captured herself. I don't know if she's all right, but she sent me away. Sombra has killed the queen, and I assume he will use these magical clones to try and take over the Empire." Sounds... But Celestia was interrupted by a blast of pure black magic erupting from the crater that the Octavia clone had left in the street below. It hit her head-on, and charred the fur on the underside of her body and part of her tail. Fainting from the pain and the impact, Celestia began to fall as another bolt of magic came from the ground. Had Luna not reacted quickly, it would have hit her sister once again and most likely finished the job this time. As fast as she could, she knocked Celestia out of the way, receiving a nasty injury on her back as a reward as the bolt passed her. As good as she could, she grabbed Celestia with all four legs and flew off. She knew of a place where she might find something that could help. Celestia and the Queen had been close friends ever since they had come here. She had asked her to make something. Luna just hoped that it was ready to be used. When Octavia came to, she wished she had stayed out like a candle. The feeling in her lower body was unmistakable, so were the sounds that echoed through the room. She tried to lift a hoof to resist the stallion who was having his way with her, or at least turn her head so she could glare at him, but to no avail. Her body was still enclosed in that damn shadow that had grabbed her earlier, so she couldn't move 1 inch. Rage building inside her, Octavia began to imagine what she would do when she got out of here. The flight had not taken long, and soon Luna touched down right in front of the royal treasure vault. Seeing not a single royal guard, she assumed that Sombra had either already taken care of them, or they had been called to the city to fight him. The vault lay a few miles out of the city, but even from out here she could see fires in the city and smoke rising into the air. More and more magical constructs were obviously fighting to bring the Crystal Empire under Sombra's control. Gently levitating the still unconscious Celestia at her side, Luna bucked the doors to the outer vault open. She did worry about Octavia, Celestia, and each and every one of the friends she had made here in the Crystal Empire, but her military training was slowly taking over again. In a situation like this, everything else had to take a back seat. The most important thing had to come first. After that, she could worry about accomplishing the secondary objective. Slowly Luna walked the halls of the outer vault. There was nothing of interest here. The most powerful magical artifacts were stored in the inner vault, as was most of the Empire's bits, and there were only 2 ponies who had access to that door. One was dead, and the other one was floating right next to her. Crystal Shine had entrusted Celestia with this kind of responsibility because she had seen potential in her. Had it been her say alone, Celestia would have become her heir to the throne, but Celestia had not wanted that. Luna hastened her trot to a hard gallop, as she saw strands of shadow enter the building the same way she had. They were definitely after her, but she didn't know why. Had somebody really wanted her and Celestia that bad? The strands of his shadow magic drew in closer and closer as Luna finally spotted the door that led to the inner vault. There was no keyhole, nor a hole to insert one's horn. Celestia had told her once that there was no need for such things. She should just be able to walk through. Not stopping, but throwing Celestia ahead of herself, Luna watched as her unconscious sister passed through the doors as if they were non-existent. She herself, however, collided with it head first in a full gallop. Having received at least equally hard bucks during her rare hoof-to-hoof encounters with the Earth ponies on the border, it did not knock her out, but it hurt nonetheless. Turning to face the shadows that closed in at her, Luna's eyes began to glow as she called upon the shadows around her for assistance. Sure enough, as Alicorn of the Night, the shadows around her obeyed her command and formed a shield around her. The shadows she could not control hammered against it with unrelenting force, and Luna did not know how much longer she would be able to hold her shadow shield up, as the golden double doors to the inner vault burst open. An immense light filled the corridor as Celestia stepped out, her eyes glowing just as brightly as Luna's. It was as if a second sun had been born in the middle of this small hallway, and was erasing each and every shadow that was foolish enough to enter its radiant aura.